On this episode of Cox Connections, Hampton Roads is blessed with rivers, lakes, and an ocean that makes this area a beautiful place to live. In order to maintain the health of these bodies of water, we must make a conscious effort to protect them from waste and other pollutants. You'll hear from an organization that is working to protect the Lynnhaven River for future generations to enjoy. Hampton Roads is no stranger to hurricanes, snowstorms, and other severe weather conditions. But when there is the threat of a natural disaster, it is critical to plan in advance as well as maneuver a swift recovery. You'll hear what Cox does to prepare in the event of an emergency and how we work to restore your services in a safe and effective manner. A golf tournament, a concert featuring Earth, Wind, and Fire, and a football game between two rival universities all contributed to Cox charities to the tune of $200,000. Hear how all of the dollars raised will help meet the growing youth and education needs of students right here in Virginia. Stay tuned. Cox Connections is next. Hello and welcome to Cox Connections. I'm your host, Gary McCullum, Senior Vice President and General Manager for Cox Hampton Roads. In 2003, a group of local citizens came together to put an end to the pollution problem in the Lynnhaven River. Today, that group has grown to more than 5,000 members, forming the nonprofit organization Lynnhaven River NOW. Education and Outreach Coordinator Helen Webb-Coons joins me today to tell us how Lynnhaven River NOW is working to restore and protect the Lynnhaven River. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, that hasn't been long ago. You guys came together and really tried to do something. So tell us a little bit about the Lynnhaven River and the importance it is to the Hampton Roads community.
Well, the Lynnhaven River is a small waterway that is in the northern part of the city of Virginia Beach. It has been a popular waterway and been a historically very important fishery for a long, long time. It still supports a lot of recreational use. A lot of fishermen use the Lynnhaven. It's a very popular boating spot, and lots of people just think it's a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, and it is beautiful. And so tell me a little bit about the mission of Lynnhaven River NOW, the mission and goals of the organization.
Well, our mission is a very simple mission. Our mission is clean up and keep healthy the Lynnhaven River. To do that, we try to identify pollutants, and by identifying them, it makes it a lot easier to reduce those pollutants. A big part of how we accomplish that is by educating and engaging the citizens that live there, and also energizing partner organizations to bring everybody together.
And I think we have a PSA talking about the types of pollutants. You mentioned educating
Yes.
The community about it. I think we have a PSA that we can roll now to at least give an example of some of the pollutants, I guess, that impact the river.
This is fertilizer. And this is how fertilizer gets into the river. Spare the river. Use fertilizer sparingly.
So Helen, interesting, that PSA talked about fertilizer.
Yes.
Tell me, how does fertilizer impact negatively the Lynnhaven River?
Well, fertilizer
or any river for that matter.
Any river, it really does. It's a pretty broad problem. It is one of several issues that the Lynnhaven River has and other rivers have as well. Fertilizer enters the waterway, and when it enters the waterway, it acts as fertilizer is supposed to do. The nitrogen and the phosphorus feed little plant-like organisms called phytoplankton that are photosynthesizing single-cell organisms. Those organisms are very important in the marine ecosystem, and they're the basis of the food chain. However, when they get too much food, what happens is they overdivide, and we end up with large blankets of phytoplankton that are fogging up the river. It makes it very cloudy, so sun won't get to the bottom and help the plants grow.
Like that.
The fish don't like it because it can get in their gills and it can cause them problems. But also what happens is when you get these blankets of phytoplankton on the surface of the water, they keep the oxygen from mixing in the water, so it lowers the oxygen levels and the fish have trouble breathing. And then when the phytoplankton die off, the decomposers that come in to break them down actually take up the rest of the oxygen. And that's when we get these zero oxygen zones that you hear about, the anoxic zones, and we get fish kills because fish can't tell what water is oxygenated and what is not. And just like us, they need oxygen.
Right. So fertilizer is clearly educating everyone. Yes, you want to have a beautiful lawn, but there's a consequence that goes along with it. What are some of the other pollutants that you are educating everyone on?
Well, that one is about the nutrients. Other things that we have problems with are general toxins that are washing off the roadways, such as oil and gasoline. Even things as simple as every time you apply brakes, there's asbestos dust that is dispensed on the roadways, and that's washing off into the waterway when it rains.
So you've been successful, though. So before there was a Lynnhaven Now, what shape was the river in compared to what it is today?
Well, the density of population in the city of Virginia Beach has grown very quickly, and all of the problems that we see in the city, in the Lynnhaven, are very indicative of areas along the East Coast that have had the same kind of growth. We have people who move in, they have cars, they have lawns, they have all of those things, and some of the other pollutants are things that come with just our living, like we have pets, we have dogs, and if you don't pick up after your dog, dog waste, like any other animal waste, can break down not into just nutrients like the fertilizer, but also puts bacteria in the waterways that close fisheries. And when we started 10 years ago, only 1% of the Lynnhaven was open for shellfish harvest. That means 99% of the river was condemned by the Virginia Department of Health because it was dangerous to eat the shellfish.
So you mentioned pet owners and watching their pets.
Right.
What are some of the other things, and we only have about a minute and a half to go, what are some of the other things anyone listening can do to help with this effort? You mentioned, obviously, with pets, but
right.
what are some other
besides scooping the poop, you can make some gardening changes. You can install rain gardens and rain barrels to help hold stormwater runoff. You can install buffer gardens if you live along the waterways to help slow down stormwater runoff and keep some of those pollutants out of the waterway.
I guess they can contact you, your organization, lrnow.org to get more information on how, again, everybody needs to be in this battle with you to keep this great waterway open. Real quickly before we end, so there are partnerships that the Lynnhaven River Now have. They're reaching out to people to try to help.
They are. Our partners are the City of Virginia Beach, other organizations like the Elizabeth River Project and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, many state and federal partners. It definitely takes more than just one small watershed organization to make.
And so if I'm listening to this and we only have about 30 seconds left, I want to get involved. Can I make contributions? Can I volunteer?
You can. You can do all of those things. We also have programs that homeowners can participate in, such as our Pearl Home program. We just put out a beautiful book called The Lynnhaven Restoring a Legend that has personal essays and beautiful photos to help people remember.
And those can be purchased as well?
It can.
I think we have a shot of that, the cover.
Yes.
Great. Well, Helen, thank you so much for your leadership and engaging the community around this most important effort. And because of you, this area obviously will remain beautiful. So congratulations on the work you're doing, and good luck with all the work you're going to do in the future.
Thank you.
Up next on Cox Connections, we've survived Hurricane Irene, but with the winter season, there's still the threat of severe weather conditions impacting operations throughout Hampton Roads. Stay tuned for some technological preparedness tips in the event of an emergency.